I can see you. Just put your thumbs up, letting me know that you can hear me. Dave, good. All right, you're in the green room. So right now it's broadcasting, but we won't go live till 7:30. So there's just background music. We're just waiting for Judy, Mr. Zitrick, and Mike. Uh-oh, that's a phone call. Hello?
Glenn?
Yes.
Is there a problem?
No, you should be clicking on that link.
What link? There's only me there.
Is this Judy?
Yeah,
Yeah,
StreamYard
no,
I went on.
click on the link.
One?
Yeah, you clicked on the wrong one. You need to click on the one that I sent today. The very last email where it says, I forgot to send you this link.
Oh, okay. I didn't think there was a different one. Where is that at?
It's the very last message.
Discussion.
You see it?
Sounds great. From please click on this link April 5th. Okay.
Okay.
Do that one and see what happens.
Yeah, leave the studio. You need to leave the studio and then click on that link. Alrighty?
Well, I'm in there now. I left the studio, but it's still not doing it.
No, you're going to have to, I'm sorry, you're going to have to close your browser. You have to quit your browser then, and you have to start over again. You have to bring your browser up and then click on the link.
All right, we'll try it again.
Yeah, it's okay.
As you're entering broadcast studio. Okay. His mic is working. Enter studio. Where's everybody?
Yeah, there you are. You're there. You're in the green room. So Dave is in, Tony and Lynn are in, and we're just waiting for the other laggards to get in. All right?
Well, it doesn't show them. It just shows me, and then
No.
it shows the pictures from school.
No, I know. You're good. You're good. So you can hang up your phone. You'll be going on in a little bit.
Okay.
All right. See ya.
Okay.
Bye. Hey, where is everybody? Where is Rich? And Mike? Mike's the one I least worry about. They're only a minute late. Unless people forgot.
Your call has been forwarded to an automatic system.
Hello?
Hey, Rich, are you joining us?
Yeah, I'm there, but
No,
I'm
you've
in-
clicked
I'm
on
in.
the wrong link then. Click on the link. You need to close out your browser. You need to not go to the test one. You need to go to the one that I sent you today.
Oh, you sent me one today.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I haven't been home all day.
Okay, I'm sorry. It's the last email you'll see from me today.
Okay, hang on. I've got to go to my computer and get it and then flip it to my wife's computer because I'm using hers. Hang on. I'll do it right away.
Everyone in the green room, you'll have to hang on. Hey, Dave, if you could do me a favor, can you tell Mike that it's not the test link, it's the link I sent today. I can't hear you. I can't hear you yet. So he's got to close down his browser, and then he's got to click on the link that I sent in mail today. And it's 7:30. So this is how it always goes. I'm just waiting for Rich. He's coming up. Rich Citric clicked on the wrong link. All right. So if anybody's out there listening, we are, well, I can bring these people in. Waiting for Judy. All right. As usually goes, the best laid plans of mice and men. So it's 7:30. Okay, Judy's back. All right. I'm going to bring Tony and Lynn are on. I'm going to bring Judy.
Hello.
And on the phone. And for anybody tuning in right now, we're having a kerfluffle. We're just waiting for Rich Dittrich and Mike Vanderwood.
So it seems they all found something better to do?
No, they clicked on the wrong link. They clicked on the link you were.
Oh, I did that too,
Yeah, you clicked on the one. I'm going to add Dave. Dave, you're no longer in the back room. Did you?
Well, thank you. I just got hold of Mike's wife, and she had an emergency root canal. Mike is driving home. Is there a way they can get on by phone?
Sure. They can call 202.
Well, wait a minute. I got to write this down. I'll call her back. Just a second.
202. It's BC.
202.
202-439-8108.
202-439-8108.
Yeah, but I've got Rich on the phone right now, and I'm not sure what Rich is doing. So,
Okay, I'll text Nancy.
okay. Rich is on the phone with me now.
So what happens if Mike calls you?
It won't work because Rich is on that number, and I can only bring him one line. I only have one alternative.
Well, then I won't bother telling him. They'll have to come on when he gets on.
Yeah, he'll come on.
Emergencies happen.
No, I know they do. They do. So Rich is having trouble with the camera right now. Okay, Rich is getting there. There he is. Here he comes. Okay, I'm hanging up my phone. Now Mike can come in.
Okay.
Tell him I just need to turn on the thing that doesn't take calls. This phone is my personal phone, so
That's better. Yeah, I turned the back one.
tell it never to take calls.
That's good. That's good. Mm-hmm.
All right, I've made it so he can call in. All right, this isn't how I thought we would begin, but we'll just take it as it comes. So I will turn one of these banners off. The show has already begun. So I want to welcome everybody who's watching this. This is something I thought about a while back. Dave is religious about his leadership of the class of 1960 and their reunions.
Hallelujah.
And we let one youngster in, and that would be Mr. Zittrick. So anyway, so Dave, if you could wave your hand so people know who you are. Nope, wrong hand. Yeah, there you go. So
I'm trying to text Mike. So
okay, cool. All right,
Yes.
Judy Judd, right? Was your
Yes.
high school name? So wave,
Oh, my
wave.
goodness.
There you go. Okay, then we have Mr. Zittrick, Richard Zittrick, class of 61.
Hi.
We go. And we have Tony Kamazi and his wife, longtime wife, Lynn Thompson. So both from the class of 1960. So one of the things that interested me in getting you all together, and we do have another person who may end up calling in, is that Wantagh during the 1950s was something very different than Wantagh is now, and so that really interested me because my brother is 2 years younger than most of you, and so I have his memories. And I was 5 years old. I was born in 1957, so I barely remember the 50s, if at all. But I remember the music because my brother played Elvis Presley until he died. But
Till Elvis died?
I'm
Till
sorry.
Elvis died.
I'm sorry.
Your brother died?
No, till Elvis. Oh well, yes. I'm sorry. Yes, my brother passed away.
Oh, I'm sorry.
what class was he in?
He was in class of 62.
Wow.
So he passed away when he was 64. So
Hmm.
yeah. But anyhow, I have a collective memory from him and my brother, who is class of 68. Mike is calling on the. Hold on, Mike. Just a second. I'm going to put Mike on a different number. Mike, can you hear us? Yes, you can.
Yes.
All right, you're calling in on the phone remotely until you get home. Emergencies happen, so it's no problem. So, anyhow, I have collective memories of what the 50s might have been like, but um, I wanted to bring you guys on so that you could just discuss what it was like. This isn't. I'm not going to ask you questions about who your favorite teacher was in what high school or stuff like that. I just want to know how you felt, what it was like during the 1950s in Wantagh. And I just want to share this picture with you all collectively. All right. So you can now see a picture,
Wow.
and that is Wantagh 1947. So anybody who's watching, that's Mike can't see it, but picture just past yours. And that's in the bottom of the picture is the Southern State Parkway, and it lets off of Wantagh Avenue, and you can see how it goes towards the water and towards Jones Beach, and that's
Which
1947.
which way is which? Which is north or?
Yeah.
Okay, the bottom of the picture is north. The top of the picture is south.
So that long straight thing is Wantagh Avenue.
Um, um, yeah, that would be
Heading
right.
south.
Yeah, heading south, and this was where the remnants of town were.
Well, that would be Jerusalem then, if that's
No, Jerusalem would be.
Southern State. No,
That's
it,
good.
it's North Wantagh. It's Levittown.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it start at the bottom is North Wantagh,
Mm-hmm.
because that's water at the top of the left-hand part of the picture. So there were homes there. Linda Wells, who's a frequent, she is on most of the Wantagh websites. Her family has lived there in Wantagh for 110 years.
Wow.
and they had a farm. Her great grandfather had a farm, so she's one of the original inhabitants of Wantagh. So, with that in mind, the first question is, um, so let's go to the married couple who's involved. To me, when did and women, ladies first. So, where did you move from, and when did you come to Wantagh?
I was born in the Bronx, and at 7 years old, about 7 years old, my older brother, mother, and father, we all lived in a one-bedroom apartment in the Bronx, and we were told that we had to move because the Cross Bronx Expressway was about to be built right where our apartment was. So my parents started looking around and thinking about where they wanted to go, and they loved the beach. They used to go to Jones Beach quite frequently, and so they thought, well, we'll start looking in Wantagh, and that's how we came to move there. My grandmother cried because she said, "I'll never see you again. It's the end of the world." Um, but that's how we moved there. So I was about 7 and finishing second grade at Sunrise Park School.
Okay, so what year would that be? I don't want to ask you your age.
1950.
We're
19,
all the same age except for Rich.
We
Yeah,
all,
we know everyone's age.
yep,
all right, 1950. So, what part of Wantagh did you move to?
right off of Park Avenue. The subdivision was called Wantagh Acres, and we were parallel to Wantagh Avenue, not far from the firehouse and the railroad station. My dad used to walk to the railroad station.
That was called Wantagh Acres. I grew up knowing it as Wantagh Woods. So,
My parents have a sign, a photo of it said Wantagh Acres and where the construction was about to start.
yeah. Well, my parents bought 2 homes in 1950 on Temple Drive. My grandmother and my parents. And my grandmother, who probably said the same thing, "I'll never see you if you move."
Mhm.
They actually were in Freeport, and they always moved as a family. So they bought a house for her, bought a house for themselves, and she passed away in '63. So then they sold the house, but they had been there a long time. So Tony, when did you must have moved from the Bronx or Brooklyn?
I moved actually from Jackson Heights in Queens,
Oh, okay. There you go.
but I had a lot of relatives in Brooklyn and some relatives already out in on Long Island in New Hyde Park, but a lot stayed in Brooklyn. But we were in Jackson Heights in Queens and moved out also in 1950.
Wow.
So I got into second grade, second half of second grade at Sunrise Park School as well. But I lived on the south side of Wantagh. We were the last homes before it was pretty much swampland from there to the first bridge from where we lived. We lived right near the Jones Beach Hotel.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Mike
What
Vanderbilt
street was that? What street was that, Tony?
What school?
No,
Street.
street.
On Beach Street.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, there were 3 streets that came off there: Beach Street, Atlantic Boulevard, and
Willow.
Willow. And I lived on Beach Street.
So
Okay.
I was wondering, my brother's 2 years younger. He went to Seymour Avenue School, the red schoolhouse.
Right.
So I guess I wonder why he didn't end up at Sunrise Park. So it was the luck of the draw.
We always wondered why that was right near our subdivision. And we always wondered why it was called the Seymour Avenue School because there was no Seymour Avenue around there.
Yeah, probably was before they renamed.
Yeah, long time ago.
Yeah.
Where was that school?
Where
Where
what?
was that school?
It
Hey,
was,
Dave,
yeah,
your microphone's off.
I don't
Right.
remember that school at all.
It was. It didn't look like a school. It looked like a house, and
Yeah.
it was on Beach Street. Still is, as far as I know.
Yes, yeah.
It's south of where the current Beach Street or Wantagh School is, the elementary.
yeah.
Yeah.
We
On
used to
the
play-
on the same side.
So I just want to ask Tony, there weren't a lot of kids then, or were there?
A lot of kids in Wantagh?
Yeah, I mean, when you went to Sunrise Park, there couldn't have been that many kids.
There were quite a bit. I mean, our homes were built, well, like I said, we moved there in 1950, but there were some built prior to that, closer to the school.
Yeah.
There were quite a few kids in that school because it wasn't long after that they built a wing on that school.
Yeah. And then they eventually tore the school down.
Right. I mean, it grew. Your picture was kind of funny. I hadn't seen that, but by 1950, there were a whole lot of people living in Wantagh.
Yeah, I can imagine. So Judy,
Yes.
where did you move from and when?
Well, I was born in Manhattan, and I moved out to Levittown when I was 8 years old, and I lived there for 2 years, and then we moved to Wantagh.
Where in Levittown, Judy?
I lived on Cord Lane in Levittown. It was off Gardeners Avenue. I went to the Abbey Lane School. I loved it. I mean, moving out from this, well, I didn't go into Levittown, but moving out from the city and the pools and everything. I mean, I was a water rat. My mother used to take me to the I can't think of the name of it.
Village Green.
No, in New York, the Jersey, where the pool is. I know the name of it, and I can't think of the name of the pool. Anyhow, it was a graduated pool, and they had sand there. Whatever. Anyhow, so after we moved to Wantagh, I lived on Woodland Avenue, where the Casabella was. Now, I don't know, Glenn, if the Casabella was around when you came around. It probably was. It was there for a number of years. It's right on the corner of Merrick Road. I thought that was the most beautiful thing in the world, you know, when I saw it, because it had all those bright colors, Italian colors on it. And anyhow, I lived on the first block on Woodland Avenue there.
And you went to Sunrise Park School?
Yeah, the last 2 years. I know I was there in the 6th grade. I'm not sure about the 5th grade.
Yeah. So did you know Tony?
No, I didn't know them until I got to the high school. You know, the high school was built in what was it?
1956.
Yeah, and so we were the first class to go all the way through.
Yeah.
You know, we went 7th grade all the way through the 12th. So I don't know that I remember Tony so much, Tony and Lynn, like in 7th and 8th grade, but I certainly knew them all in high school. In fact, Tony's locker was right next to mine. Yeah.
And he was just as nice, I'm sure.
Yes, he used to tease me though. He put little notes in my locker, but whatever. He was
All right. Yeah.
a good guy.
Hey, Rich, we're going to come to you, but we have to give Dave, we have to give age its preference.
Okay.
I'd like to do a reality check and see if Mike is still with us, because we couldn't really hear him before. Can you patch him in so we can at least hear his
Oh,
sound?
actually, yeah. Go ahead, Mike. Mike, you there?
Yeah, hi. We just swapped. So my wife is now driving and I'm sitting so I can talk.
Well, she just went through an emergency.
Yeah. Well, no, it's just,
You can't make her drive.
well, it was emergency root canal.
Oh, man. Oh, man.
Two. And
you're making her drive. Okay.
And it's also pouring rain. So anyway.
All right.
Sorry I'm late.
No, it's okay. It's okay. So you're on the phone. So, Mike, why don't you share your story of when you moved to Wantagh?
We moved to Wantagh in October of '56 from Queens. We lived in Queens Village, and then prior to that, I was born actually in Flex Memorial Hospital in Brooklyn. So we moved to Wantagh in 1956. And the reason behind that is that my mother was one of 21 children,
Wait,
and 17 actually survived. 4 died very young, but they all lived in Belmore, Merrick, Seaford, Wantagh, Levittown. So that's how we wound up in Wantagh.
Yeah, that is amazing. And what part of Wantagh?
We were south of Merrick Road, close to Tony, a few houses up from where Tony lived. Dennis Flynn, Larry Sherinsky, Tony Gregorio, all of those guys were around our neighborhood. Johnny Wooden, Richie Crolder,
Yeah,
Pat Costello. So they were all in that neighborhood.
yeah. The Crolder family was big too. They had a lot of kids.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
So,
They were a few doors down from Tony, and actually 2 doors from Tony Gregorio.
yeah. Did you go to Sunrise Park, or did you move when you were in junior high?
When I was in high school.
Oh,
I
high
went
school.
to sophomore high school.
All right. Okay, high school. Sorry. Yeah.
That's okay.
So, all right. So, Dave, what's your story?
okay. So I was born in Brooklyn. Spent my first nearly 5 years in Flatbush. And then all of a sudden, in October of 1947, my folks took me on a drive out to the wild of what later became Levittown, where they were building houses on this old potato field.
Yeah.
And we moved in on the first day that the Levitt homes opened in October 1st, 1946. And I was mad as hell they hadn't consulted me.
Oh, they're all Levittown.
Hello?
Go ahead.
Okay, anyhow, I was mad as hell they hadn't consulted me, like they should ask a little kid. But I really loved it. We could run around any place. There were no facilities at all. And lived in Levittown until 52. My parents started a newspaper there, the Levittown Eagle, and eventually moved the paper to Massapequa, the Massapequa Post. And in 52, we moved into the Keene homes, which are right behind where the high school is now, between the high school and Jerusalem Avenue.
Yeah.
And right behind my house were the Bidewee Woods. And for 2 years, I got to play in those woods, explore the swamps and the ferns and the skunk cabbage, come back all dirty and everything, which is what a kid really needs to do. And I loved it. Then they tore it all down to build the parking lot and the handball courts and tennis courts for the high school, which eventually became the junior high, and that became the middle school.
Yeah.
The high school actually opened in 54, not 56.
Oh, sorry.
And as Judy said, we were the first class to go all the way through. And by the way, Judy, when I left Levittown, Abbey Lane was the only school I hadn't gone to. Every year, sometimes every semester, they would move us. As they opened a new school, they'd move us there. And it was amazing because when I got to Wantagh, pretty much the same thing happened. I started off at Beach Street at the Wantagh School in 4th grade, but then 5th grade, they jumped us over everybody else and bussed us down to Sunrise Park for 6th grade. Very strange. So I must know, I was 5th grade in Wantagh School and then 6th grade at Sunrise Park. So we went from the extreme north end of the district, past all the middle, which were closest to Beach Street School, and took us down to Sunrise Park. And I was a safety patrol officer, so I would jump off the bus and then direct traffic for a while before school. And it was kind of a mobile safety patrol. But it was really nice the first couple of years. Where the football field is now for the high school was a cornfield. And in the fall, we would play in the corn stalks and everything that were up there. And it was just a really good time. Cherrywood was built a year or two later. And here's an interesting story. When they opened Cherrywood, they had a raffle for a whole bunch of things, for the grand opening, all the merchant chipped in stuff. Well, I won what they euphemistically called the basket of cheer, which was a big wicker basket absolutely filled with whiskey and wine like that. And here I was, a 10-year-old kid at the time. So we don't drink very much. We drink, but we will have a drink on occasion, my family, but we're not big drinkers. That alcohol must have lasted them for 20 years or more. But the basket is the interesting part. That wicker basket, my mom and dad were publishing the newspaper. My mom worked all day, took care of us all evening, and I used to fall asleep to the sound of the typewriter with her typing editorials and news columns for the paper. And she didn't have too much time for housework, but she was a meticulous housekeeper. So she could wash the clothes, and she hung them up to dry outside on one of those circular pop-up drying things. But then she had an ironing lady in Massapequa. That wicker basket had to put all the unironed clothes in it. She would take that and drop it off, and then pick it up at the end of the day and bring the freshly ironed clothes back home in that basket. So it's like the traveling pants or whatever it was in that book. But in this case, it was the traveling wicker basket. For all I know, some of that booze still exists. Anyhow, so that's my story, and I'm sticking to it.
Yeah. You lived in the same neighborhood Ed Weir lived in.
Yes, he was just around the corner.
Yeah.
Well, we had a lot of people from our class in there. Next door to me was Jeffrey Schler. Across the street diagonally was Leslie Trent. A couple of doors down from Leslie was Jay Shapiro.
Wow.
If you turned right at the corner by where Jay's house was, a couple of doors down was Mike Kleiner. And we had a bunch of other people there as well, but those are the ones from our class.
And you had teachers living there. The Marcino,
I didn't hobnob with the teachers, so
yeah.
No, but,
Marcino, Mr. Grady, they lived there. So let's go to the youngster in the room. Rich, go ahead.
Yeah, I was born Cambria Heights, Queens. We moved to Lynbrook in 1947. We moved to Seaford in 1952. Where we lived in Seaford was one house off of Siemens Neck Road, so almost Wantagh, just that close, up by the Wantagh Jewish Center.
Yeah.
There was nothing within a mile of our house regarding stores or anything you wanted to do. So we shopped in Wantagh. We shopped at the King Cullen. I remember the grand opening. We shopped at Cherrywood. We went to church at St. Francis, which is where I first met Lynn. My parents had me in the Cub Scouts, the Boy Scouts, the Altar Boys, and then eventually CCD every Wednesday night, from 8 to 10.
Yep.
Like I said, that's where I met Lynn, and that's why I sat right behind Tony DeGregorio. And of course, he knew I was from Seaford, and we were friendly. And was he shocked in 1959 when I went to Wantagh and came in the classroom with Mr. Tulin? I can remember. He said, "Well, sit in the back." And there's Tony waving and says, "What the hell are you doing here?" So every 4th of July, Wantagh had a parade. I was always in it, either a Cub Scout or a Boy Scout.
Yeah.
My ties are pretty close to Wantagh.
No, that is true. But the schools that you went to, so you were in Seaford High School for 2 years, right?
Yeah, exactly. Then my mother passed away, and my father remarried my aunt, my mother's sister. So our cousins became our stepbrothers. and now he had a family of like it was 8 or 9, I guess, and so he bought a house in Wantagh, Jones Avenue, within walking distance of the train because 3 or 4 of them took the train every day.
Yeah, Jones Avenue is by the post office, and they had horses. People had horses back there, I thought.
Yeah.
We were next to the telephone business, like 4 houses down.
Oh, no.
from
I'm thinking of the wrong place. Yeah, I know where you are.
Okay.
I've been away for a long time. So I have a picture that
That's what people who are in jail say. You know, I've been away for a long time.
yeah. Well, I left young. So Carol Peckham, who works on the Historic Society for Wantagh, gave me a bunch of pictures. So she's the one who gave me this picture of Wantagh, and I'm sorry, Mike, you can't see these pictures, but one of the things she sent that I think you can all see this on the screen.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So I remember eating in that, going to that luncheonette as a kid, and that they made real sodas there.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
My brother would take me in that hobby shop, Tony's Hobby Shop, but I had no idea there was a grocery store in that section, in the middle section, and you got to love the cars of the time. So, and then there's this, which is the let me
It's
see,
the Wantagh Hotel.
Hotel,
the
yeah.
hotel.
which burned down and was replaced by a McDonald's. I think is that the story?
That's right.
Yes.
Yeah. So then there's this, which I remember.
Oh, yeah.
You know,
Yes.
you'd
That's
have
why we
to.
used to take the train in the city.
Yeah, and you lived your life based on the schedule of the train, because if you didn't get to the other side when the trains were coming, you were stuck. And
That's right.
I remember kids putting pennies on the train tracks
Yeah.
and getting them flattened. And does anybody remember this place?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't remember that at all. I mean,
We used to get Chinese takeout from there.
was this before Kwang Ming?
Oh, it's nowhere. It's
Guangming is up north.
No,
Yeah.
I know. Is this?
This is down by the station.
No, I
Yeah.
know. But did they have this before Kwang Ming?
Oh, yes.
They have
I
Yes.
think so. Yeah.
That's
Yes.
where we got our Chinese food from. My father would, send, we would get it there occasionally.
That's
Takeout.
amazing.
This was the only one. Yeah.
And then this is the public library I remember. I don't know whether they had a library. Did they have a library when? What did they have in?
They built that later, and that was controversial. That took a while before they finally got that going. I
Yeah.
don't know. People didn't want it. I don't know what the deal was.
So do you remember this one? This was on Park Avenue.
No,
Yeah, but that
I didn't.
wasn't from our time. That was later.
Yeah,
That's
Yeah.
much later.
Much later. Yeah.
yeah. Just wondering. So then, Carol gave me this Sports Night
Oh, I
1958.
was in that. Yeah.
Yep.
I was in that. Yep.
These little memories of Wantagh. Let's see, and then the pièce de résistance.
Uh,
Yeah.
The
Yes.
best beach in the world.
So, what was Jones Beach like for you guys?
Wonderful. It was wonderful. I could walk right down to my corner and get the bus down the beach before I drove, and it was great. And we had a spot down there. Wantagh had their area down in the main drag. What was that called? With the main
the West Bathhouse, 4 baskets down, 3 over. Was
Yeah.
one.
Okay, and Levittown was on the other side.
Right.
Right.
Yeah, we never went to the east. Always went to the West Bathhouse.
And I'll tell you something else that would be interesting. I just remembered this. And my mother, they had the Jones Beach Theater. They had live shows there. And
Yeah.
my mother was a swimmer in 2 of the shows.
Really?
Shows, yeah. Now I can't remember the name of them. Jeez, I should.
Oh yeah, they used to have
Yep.
the swimmers on the little piece between the stage
Yes,
and the
right.
audience.
The water between the stage and they changed all that. They filled that all in there years later. Because I know I went down there years later, but yeah, my mother was a swimmer in the
It's
show.
a great place for concerts now.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it used to be a lot of shows there too, and Guy Lombardo sponsored a lot of them, and he'd
Well,
always.
yeah.
that was it, Guy Lombardo. Yeah, he used to come in his rope and his little
You know,
speedboat.
they dropped the word Marine from the name of the theater. It used to be Jones Beach Marine Theater.
Right.
Oh,
And now
really?
it's just Jones Beach Theater.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, my grandfather in Freeport was one of Guy Lombardo's neighbors on the water.
I know I remember where his house was. Yep.
Yeah,
Yep.
and we used to watch his boats go out, and
Mhm.
yeah, my grandfather moved there in 1914
Wow.
and bought 5 lots on the water. So,
Wow.
Rich, did you go to the beach too?
all the time. Yeah, from Seaford. I
Yeah,
don't
but
know.
Seaford people, where did they have to go? Did you go to Beach 9?
Well, we just had a little farther walk to get to the Wantagh State Parkway, so before we stuck out our thumbs. In junior high, I was every weekday. I had a paper out, so I had to leave and get home by 3. But yeah, every day.
Wow. Mike, can you
Yes.
did you go to Jones Beach a lot?
Oh, a lot. Yes. Like Tony, we hitched.
Right.
We hitchhiked down at Jones Beach. We spent most of the time, most of us went to Field 4. I don't know who, maybe Tony knows, but there was a trick to getting in the pool. And there was, if you had embalming fluid, and it usually was on the 4th post down, as the post went down to the ocean. In the sand next to the post was a bottle of embalming fluid. And if you put that on your hand and stuck it underneath the aqualite, you got in the pool for free.
Oh my God.
Exactly.
I thought I was doing well by staying 12 for quite a few years, and I only had to pay the kids' rate.
We used to get in for free because Jerry Margolis was a lifeguard in the pool. You would just put your naked hand in there and you'd say, "See, Jerry." The guy would look over, Jerry would say, "Cool," and you got through.
Speaking of lifeguards, one of our classmates, Dave Birdsall, was a lifeguard at the beach.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My family had a year-long pass. We were at the beach as a family. I mean, until high school, and then I started going with my friends. But my mom and dad, in the middle of winter, we'd walk the boardwalk. There was an adult playground that not many people remember. It had playground equipment, but adult size. And then we'd go roller skating.
Oh yeah, they had a roller rink. Yeah.
In the summertime, we went down and watched softball games. My mom and dad didn't know anybody playing, but we went, and my dad had, in the summer, he would get off of work by 4:30 in Freeport when he worked in Freeport. And by 5 o'clock, we were gone. My mother would have dinner early, and we were down at the beach almost every night in the summer. And then, of course, and then on Sunday mornings, we'd go to 8 o'clock Mass at St. Francis. And then my mom and dad would have packed up breakfast. And I remember my dad, there were some grills on Field 9, and he would make breakfast down at Field 9. So we were there year round. I have pictures of us there in the winter year round. But then, of course, in high school, you didn't want to be with your parents anymore. So it was always to the West Bathhouse, 4 baskets down and 3 over.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Well, I have to really thank my dad in particular, because before I could drive, he would take us down there and then come back later and pick us up sometimes, which was really nice, particularly, if we were double dating or something like that. And he was pretty discreet. I still don't know how he was able to drive home with his eyes closed, but
Yeah.
I actually practiced driving down there. We used to go down Wantagh Parkway. When I was learning how to drive, my father took me down to the beach, and we go in the parking lot, learn how to park.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And you always had to pay money to get in to the.
Except for in the winter. I think you have to pay all year round now. I don't know.
No, they took away the toll gate, and then you have to pay in the parking lot. I don't know whether you pay all year round, but and now they're doing electronic passes. So
I think they did away with the tolls in the winter anyhow, even when they had the
they did.
Right.
Yeah, I remember. You could just slide over to the left and go right past them. But
it's where we spent all of our time in the summer. If we weren't down, if we weren't there during the day, then at night we hung out at the, some people hung out at the sweet shop. We hung out at Al's on the south side, but we're on the street corner or down the beach.
Yeah. I want to give you guys a 2-minute break. I'm going to play a video, not of Jones Beach. It's something I found. Somebody from Wantagh put this together, and it just harkens back to the 50s. So sit back and relax, and it's going to take the whole screen, so you guys can take a break if you need.
Once there was a neighborhood street, handlebars, bicycle seats, a house full of love, a great place to grow. Once upon a long time ago, if only I could go back again to Mom and Dad and all of my friends, I would feel safe with the people I know from once upon a long time ago. I'll never fly off to Neverland. I'll never travel in time. All I can do is the best I can and go there in my mind. So I close my eyes, imagine I'm there, hide and seek musical chairs, hot summer nights, and the cool winter snow from once upon a long time ago. I smile as I look back on roads I've crossed, traveling down memory lane, but without all of those that I've loved and lost, life is not the same. For all the good times I can recall, to all I've loved, God bless you all. The happiest moments that I'll ever know were once upon a long time ago. Once upon a time, once upon a time, once upon a long time ago.
Well,
Very nice.
I found that on a Wantagh site, so I'm not sure if those sites are from Wantagh, but
They're not.
No,
Close.
definitely not.
Yeah.
it
It's
did
out
remind
west.
me of the 50s. And so my next question is, Wantagh went through meteoric growth, during the 50s. And what was that like? I mean, there were new families moving in. There were obviously homes being built, and as fast as people could move in. Do you remember what that was
No,
like? Or
to me, it was all built up. I don't remember that. All I know, I have very fond memories of Wantagh Avenue. It was a beautiful avenue. Huge trees that covered over the road. It was just so pretty, and I was heartsick when I saw some years later when they started taking those trees down. It's just a
Yeah.
pretty avenue.
yeah, I would think that Wantagh Avenue was the main thoroughfare, and those were where the old homes were, and the big trees.
And I have another memory too that I have to, and I don't know if Tony and Lynn or Dave might remember this. I can't remember the name of the food store up in Cherrywood.
King Cullen. Oh
No,
no.
no,
Grand
no.
Union.
Grand
Okay, so that was where my mother went food shopping, and I was like about 11 and 12 years old. And they had a little area in the store where you could go in there and sit. It was like a little mini library. And I would sit there and read comic books while my mother shopped. And I thought that was the greatest thing since sliced bread. I really loved it.
That's great.
Now they arrest people if they leave their kid in the stroller outside the store. So
Oh, yeah, right. Yeah.
Oh man,
in those days, you could go anywhere as long as you were home for dinner.
Well, and after dinner, I'd be home by dark,
Yeah,
because I know, yeah, right.
but I used to travel all over. I had my bicycle, and I
You
went
went all over in your
from
bike.
down all the way down to South America Road. I mean,
Yeah.
just every place that you could get to, and nobody worried about it.
You know, Glenn, you asked what was it like? What I remember is the constant removal of the woods.
yeah,
New developments going in left and right, and all of a sudden, we were playing in houses under construction rather than in the woods themselves. As
Yeah.
they
And
just
then there was on the northeast corner of Wantagh in Jerusalem, there was the Dauenheim sod farm, and
Right.
that's gone. Everything's gone basically. If there's an open spot, it's been filled in. The thing is that Wantagh has shrunken, though. I mean, Sunrise Park is gone, and I think maybe another school also. It seems like there are fewer people, fewer kids, certainly in Wantagh than there were in our time.
yeah. The graduating classes are tiny now. My class was the peak, and we
How
had
many were in your class?
74, 75. The total was 512.
wow.
No, we only had 215 or
Yeah.
less, or some moved away.
Yeah. So it was, the pig and the python. And as soon as we started getting smaller, then they had to close Sunrise Park School and then send people, throughout the other schools. I wanted to ask you, there wasn't a junior high, was there?
No, we was in the same school.
It was a junior, senior high school, and that wing that's now the middle school had not been built. And we all fit into the one basic school. And eventually, the population got big enough, they built the wing. And I guess added sixth grade at some point. But there was just seventh through 12th.
Yeah.
We were in one hallway, the hallway that was next to Wantagh Parkway. That was all seventh grade, and I think eighth grade was upstairs. But
Upstairs, right.
we shared the gym and the lunchroom and everything else, but we were kind of confined to that wing.
Well, when we were there weren't very many in the two classes above us because they had just started. They hadn't gone all the way through.
Right.
But I guess the first class graduated when? Was that 56?
Yeah, 56.
was the first graduating class
Right.
when we were graduating from 8th grade.
Yeah.
But
do they still graduate from 8th grade now? Or do they do the 9th?
Probably they don't. I mean, they probably do. It's probably 6 to 9. I don't know if they have a 9th grade graduation or not.
7,
Yeah,
8, 9.
after 6th grade, we went to junior high school through 9th grade. Then 10th, 11th, and 12th in high school.
Wow.
So at least when I went there, that was how they managed the size.
Yeah. Is Mike still with us? I don't want to forget about him because
Mike,
I'm here. I'm here.
Mike, we shouldn't be forgetting you.
No, that's okay.
Just speak up.
I'm close to the house. I might be able to join you for a few minutes.
Yeah, that would be nice.
Before you end. But favorite memories. I don't know if you remember the shopping center on Park Avenue and Wantagh Avenue. The A&P was there.
Yes.
Friend's Meat Market was there, and Nathan's Pastry. That was my part-time job. I put jelly into jelly donuts, and then I used to load up out the back door. I'd stick a bag of donuts, and the guys got out of football practice or baseball. There was always donuts there that the guys always picked up.
Wow.
the profits.
Yeah, eating the profits, yes. But I'm trying to think of other things, memories. Hey, Rich, I have a question for you. So, Siemens Neck Road, those were farms there, because I remember the farmhouses when I was a kid, playing in them, but the families had already moved out at that point. Did you know any kids whose homes were demolished for the Oyster Bay Expressway?
No, when I was in like the 5th grade, the word came out from it was in the newspaper, and my dad said, "Well, we're going to have to move again because they're going to build this road." It wasn't built until the 60s, and I was long gone from there. But Seaford High School was built on a dairy, Hendrickson's Dairy, and we used to go there and get our milk from them. And one of the neat things is Elsie the cow lived there. There really was a Jersey cow named Elsie. And she had a stall. It was clean where the rest of them were normal, but hers was immaculate. And we would go and pet Elsie often. We played baseball in the fields. We used cow plop for bases. Cow plop. Yeah.
Yeah. Now, you talk about the big houses. Ginny Sheldon lived at the corner of Seaford Neck and Park as a child and as an adult as well. I don't know if she still lives there, but I used to ride my bike down there and play on our swings in the yard and stuff like that. But that remained. That did not get sacrificed to the expressway. Expressway was now, I think, right across the street from there, and just missed that little bit. Now they call it, I think, South Siemens Neck or something like that, because it doesn't really connect with the rest of Siemens Neck.
Yeah.
Yeah, we were in Girl Scouts together, and I could walk from where I lived on Roxbury to her house. Yeah, I visited her frequently. Yeah.
We walked everywhere. That was one of the neat things. We often talk when we were doing some of our reunion things online, what a carefree time it was. And many of our kids have said to us, "You grew up at an incredible time."
Yeah,
and we really, I can remember we walked everywhere. I can remember walking from the high school to home. Mike Vanderwood and I would be singing doo-wop.
Many times.
But
in between buses.
One thing that Lynn and I have talked about and wondered about was how many people in Wantagh today could tell you what happened on August 3rd, 1954.
My brother was a block away from there.
Oh, was that the plane?
Yeah. And my parents.
The plane crash?
Yeah, the plane
Yeah,
crash.
that was right by Daddy Winch's house.
Yeah.
Yeah, mine Yeah, Dottie and I lived on the same street. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, my parents panicked, from what I've been told, because my brother was out riding his bike, and he saw the plane crash, but he wasn't involved at all. But but yeah, there's. But who could tell you now? I have to tell you, there are a lot of people who have bought their parents' homes in Wantagh.
Oh,
You know, because of the various roles I play, particularly with the Wantagh Memorial. I'm in touch with a lot of people who, you know, they bought out their parents. So I don't know whether they have the collective memory, but they, you know, they've been there, you know, sequentially since the 50s as a family. So can you remember your telephone number? Did it start with an SU?
yes,
Yeah.
SU5.
Sunset. It was Sunset. It
Sunset
wasn't
52015, I think my number was.
Yeah, Sunset 5.
Sunset 57837.
Yeah.
That's for my number.
18917.
And they were a lot better. They were a lot better than they are now, the phones.
Yeah, and you can hear better on them too.
Yeah.
Eventually, in high school, I got my own phone, and that was Castle 10989.
Right. Yeah, Castle came in, and then Sunset 1, Sunset 5, and Taft, TA.
I never heard of TA.
Yeah, Taft was to cover people who were on the other side of Sunrise Highway. So it started, people on that side who were new to the area ended up getting the Taft 9.
And you say the other side, that's from the perspective of being on one side. Which side are you talking about?
Towards Jones Beach. You
Oh,
know,
okay, south side.
there was the middle ground, the people in between Sunrise and Merrick, and then the people below Merrick who ended up going to Mandalay school, elementary school, and that area grew up. You know, for my age group, that was it got crazy. The more kids there were, because they were shipping kids all over the place, just like they were for you guys too. You know, there were kids from Mandalay who would be brought to Beach Street School. There were kids in Beach Street who would go to Island Road School, you know, a small school. Some of the kids would, you know, they'd go to Forest Lake, even if they were in my neighborhood. So it you know, things changed.
Yeah.
But I don't know, how many of you have gone back?
I haven't been there in years now. I go
Very
to the
rarely.
island because my son's out in Northport. My daughter's in Rockville Center. And probably maybe 5 years ago, 6 years ago, I went down Woodland Avenue just to see it.
I don't think
I didn't like it.
I don't think I've been there since our 50th.
I wouldn't live in Wantagh now if you paid me. No, I don't like it.
We get there fairly often because Lynn still has a brother that lives out in Southold on the North Fork. So whenever we drive out there, we stop in Wantagh, and we've stopped and to see some of her particular neighbors. Some still live there.
Oh,
Yeah.
really?
Nice.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah.
In second grade, after we moved to Wantagh, there was a bus. I would take the bus with my older brother to the Sunrise Park School. And I remember here I was in second grade, not quite 7 years old or about 7. And I missed the bus. And I was so afraid of going home. My mother would have killed me for missing the bus that I decided to walk. So I walked all the way across Sunrise Highway,
Oh, boy.
all the way to the Sunrise Park School. I got to the front door, and I was teeny tiny then. I couldn't open the door. They were these big, giant doors that had, you know, the old iron circle, and you pulled, and I couldn't open the door. I was so small, so I had to walk all the way back. And you talk about, here I was 7 years old crossing Sunrise Highway, but
Wow, that was a lot of nerve.
yeah.
Wow.
because I know my mother would just have a fit, and I don't remember. I made it home safely, obviously, but I just remember crying because I couldn't open the door.
You
So
could
I
have waited
walked.
till somebody came out, you know.
Yeah, wow. Amazing nobody
Yeah.
saw you pass by in the hall.
Yeah, at the end of the day, they we went to Beach Street School, and I would always walk from my home to Beach Street School, which was maybe a half a mile. But then they made us take a bus, to go, basically 4 blocks.
Well, that was crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Well, I walked to the Beach Street School also, and we came home for lunch. I don't know if it was every year, but I certainly remember coming home for lunch, probably when I was in 3rd grade. By 3rd grade, when we were in 3rd grade, the Beach Street School had just been completed. And I mean, it was a good 10-minute walk, but I don't know how long we had for lunch, but we made it back there in time.
Well, I went to Sunrise Park all the way through 6th grade, except for half of 5th grade. The second half of 5th grade, I was at the Beach Street School because that's when they were building that wing on Sunrise Park. So we all got moved over to Beach Street School for the second grade.
So Tony and Lynn, did you know each other? When did you really first know each other?
Well, we figured it out that there were 2 2nd grades in Sunrise Park, and they were both in the basement. He was in one, I was in the other, but you hated boys and boys hated girls at that point. So
I don't think we met until probably 7th grade.
Yeah. And we were
There's Mike.
we were we were at the Sunrise Park School together. I mean, at the Beach Street School together a year or so. Yeah. But we don't remember each other until 7th grade.
Yeah. Well, thank you, Mike, for joining us.
Sorry I'm late.
Really appreciate it. And it's very sad that you made your wife drive.
Well, she probably was still numb from the Novocaine, right?
Yeah, she was probably still drugged up.
Hi, Judy. So nice to see you in person.
Oh, thanks. Good to see you. Missed you at the reunion. I thought sure you were going to come.
Yeah, I bought Judy a camera, and I had Amazon in its greatest capabilities deliver it to her house, and we worked it through.
Yeah.
So
good.
That was really so nice.
Is that Marilyn? Hello, Marilyn. How are you?
So, Mike, why didn't you come to the reunion? You can't hear me?
He should be able to hear you, Mike. She wanted to know why you didn't come to the reunion.
Oh, because I don't know, I'm still working for a living.
Oh,
so I couldn't do that. And COVID, I haven't.
Come on, it's gone.
I haven't gotten the shot, so.
Don't worry, you got a natural immunity.
Just so you know, I have COVID right now, so I should be wearing a mask. But
not on the line.
We're going to catch it from you through the airways.
Yeah. But I almost called you guys and said I've got COVID and I feel like crap. But
I mean, from last week, you're still not feeling good, huh?
Yeah. Doing great. You never know.
No, this motivates me doing this kind of stuff. I love doing it and talking to people, young and old, and not that you're old. So I think Mike's the oldest of the group, right?
I don't know. I will be. I'll be 80 in 13 days.
Oh wow!
What's
the date?
April 17.
On the
What's
13th.
today's date?
I'll be 79
12 days or whatever. 12 days.
I'm about the youngest one in my class. Yeah.
Yeah. Mike,
79 in June.
Go ahead. Sorry, Lynn.
Yeah, Judy and I are almost the same age. I'll be 79 in June.
Oh, you're young.
Yeah, you're younger than me.
Jeez.
Younger, yeah.
Well, there you go.
17 when you graduated. Just 17. Wow. Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you skip a grade?
I did when I was young. It was stupid because I struggled really all through school. Like first grade, they put me, they skipped me because I moved to something. I think I was in Catholic school for a couple of months, and they thought, oh, I was advanced. Yeah, right.
When I moved to Levittown, there weren't any schools. There was no kindergarten. They finally put up the Quonset hut, which was the original Wisdom Lane School by the time I hit first grade. But my parents had to send me to a private kindergarten. It was in some church called the Pillar of Fire Church. I don't know where it was. I think it was in East Meadow or something.
Wow.
I never
Remember the name of the street you lived on?
I lived on Pine Tree.
I don't know. What was that near? Was it near Gardeners?
No. It's north of Hempstead Turnpike, and just east of Newbridge and Old Belmore Road. North
Oh,
Belmore.
further away from me. Yeah, I was up there. Yeah.
South.
I was only a block from the Abbey Lane School.
Okay, well, no, I was nowhere near there.
Yeah.
But you talk about building homes, Glenn. When I lived in Levittown, the first year or two, I would wake up every morning to the sound of a thousand or thousands of hammers,
Sure.
going tap tap tap, building the houses. They came like in kit form. That was the whole magic of Levittown. It wasn't prefab, but everything was cut and packaged so that they would deliver everything for the house to the site, and they went up in a couple of days. But the sound of these hammers that resounded for a mile in every direction, tap 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 every morning. So that we lived through the building boom.
And the original Levitts had 2 or 3 bedroom and 1 bath.
2 bedroom.
Yeah,
The original homes for the Cape Cods, they had 2 bedrooms. They had a living room, an eat-in kitchen,
Yeah.
a bathroom. Now there was an attic that was unfinished, but some people finished them. They were on slab, but the nice thing about that slab was that it had radiant heat built into it.
Yeah,
So in winter, at least, your feet were warm as toast.
Wow.
I was always wondering how that was.
And they had built-in television in the living room.
Well, you were in the ranch homes though. They didn't have those when I'm on.
No,
I think all the Levitt homes that
You
were
were
on.
in Cape?
I was in the Cape, and we had the built-in television.
Oh, we had.
Yeah.
Wow.
You
Levitt
moved in with a TV.
Moved in.
Wow, that's amazing.
I didn't have any built-in television when I moved into Levittown. There wasn't any television to speak of.
Yeah.
We finally got this little small Philco, and eventually, and we weren't the first to get color TV either, but we finally got one. But you shouldn't sit too close because the radiation would get.
Right. That's like the new telephony systems. They're radiating that as well. So, Mike and Tony, you lived below Merrick Road?
Yep.
Yeah.
South. We don't call it below. We call it south.
All right. South of, I'm sorry.
The other side of the tracks.
Yeah.
The wrong side of the tracks.
Yeah.
So you were close to the water.
Yeah.
Yeah. In fact, you were talking about all the houses being built and everything else. Behind Tony's house and across from my house was the swamp. It's now Wantagh Park.
Yeah.
Right.
That was all swamp when we were there.
And there's an army reservation right behind the JBH too.
Yep.
We used to go there and visit those guys. Remember, Mike? They'd throw potatoes right on the fire, and they would take them out, and the skin was all crusty. But
They call them Mickeys.
Mickey's.
Yeah.
The JBH was a major hangout.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh yeah, we used to line up the walls. They had that shelf that was kind of neck high, right? And we used to load the beer bottles up along that shelf after either football or wrestling and all that jazz.
As soon as we turned 18,
Wow. Helen and Walter got really upset when they found out I was only 17 and I turned 18. Right? What's the occasion?
We didn't worry about
This is I'm
that.
18 today. You son of a bitch! I said, we've been drinking there for 2 years.
Yeah, I bet.
Hey, I remember as a very little kid, I went to a skeet shooting place. Was that
I
down by the
remember that too. That was in what's now Wantagh Park.
Okay.
And they used to send up sheet and trap, I think, also.
Yeah.
Wow. I don't
My
know.
It was built in the 60s.
my brother was in the rifle club in high school, and he would go shooting there. And I remember being dragged along. So, and there was a restaurant on the corner of Wantagh Avenue and Merrick.
Yeah.
There's no restaurant.
There was some place.
McNiff's?
They had a Chicken Delight down there.
Bar.
Oh, that's where the Chicken Delight was. Yeah, but
Don't
Yeah.
cook tonight, call Chicken Delight.
yeah, I remember that.
But there was another restaurant right on that corner. They're called the Deacon Inn, which faced Merrick Road but bordered on Wantagh Avenue too, or
Oh,
close.
That's right.
Yeah,
That's
that might have,
on the east side?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Wasn't
So-
the Cozy Cafe down there? The Cozy Cafe with Fritz? No?
Cafe.
Okay.
I don't remember
Yeah, I don't
that.
remember. But that sounds familiar, but
We remember McNiff's, right, Tony?
yes, we used to stop in there for a little glass of milk after wrestling practice.
Yeah, right.
So we're getting close to having to end. I just wanted to know how have you guys been able to stay friends? It's Dave's magnificent reunion stuff, or did you guys just naturally stay friends, or did you get reconnected? Is Facebook a reason? Well, no, none of you are on Facebook, except
Right.
for Dave.
I'm on Facebook.
Yeah, I just said that.
We
So-
always, high school friends are very unique. I mean, it's the kind of friendship that you almost can't explain because you'll see somebody 20 years after you got out of high school. It's like you saw them yesterday. In fact, I got a call last night out of the blue from Kenny Fly. I hadn't seen Kenny in 20 years. He called me up to, wish his condolences because my brother passed away a week ago. And I literally haven't seen him since what? The 50th reunion. So it's like, 14, 12 years, 13 years. And it was like, and that's how it is with high school friends. We managed to stay in touch through various means, and this one knows that one. And, we'll admit we haven't gotten together enough, but we pledged after this last reunion, we're going to try to get together somewhere every year from now on, as long as we're, on the right side of the grass.
Let's do it. Let's do it.
I think that
living, Tony.
I was going to say between Tony and Lynn and myself, it's not like we'd call each other every week, but we've been in touch since I think out of high school, etc., on and off. I mean, I spent a career in the military, so we were probably stretched then. But after that, I think we've had a relationship. And now Tony's son is a professor at UVA, so they come down and visit every few months or so. Other than the COVID and other handicaps, we haven't seen each other recently, but usually when they come down, we go grab a bite to eat.
Is that a byproduct of the town? Is that a byproduct of 1950s or,
I think it's probably
so.
both. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it is.
I mean, it was a small town then, and everybody knew everybody in high school. I mean, everybody knew everybody in their own class, and we knew Rich a year later, and a lot of the kids in 62 were siblings to our class. So, it was small then, and the town was relatively small, and we're just fortunate that a lot of us have stayed in touch with each other. I mean, if it's only a Christmas card or an occasional phone call or whatever. And early on in our lives, earlier than now. I mean, we're raising families, careers, going to school, whatever. But after the kids are gone and you kind of settle into your own life again, you start thinking about old friends and reconnecting, and that's the reunions we've had have done a great deal to keep that going, I think.
Right. And we've lost a number of people in our class, and we've all again made a commitment to start reaching out and talking to other ones. We talk to Ollie Roll at least once a year, and we've reconnected with people just through somebody else who says, "Hey, I got in touch with Bob Zaburnham, but give him a call." And Dave Birdsall will say, "Oh, I got in touch with Artie Springer. Maybe we can get together in Florida." So, I mean, that kind of thing is growing, I think, more and more recently. And like I said, we've all promised to try to even make it better.
I'm closer to Dave now than I ever was in high school.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I don't know which Dave you mean, but certainly if you mean me, until the last couple of years, I hadn't really been in touch with anybody except maybe Richie Edom every 5 years or every 10 years when there was a reunion coming up. Been in touch with a couple of people in other classes, but in our class, no. And it has been so wonderful getting to make the friends I never had in high school. And I cherish all of you. It's just amazing. And I'm sorry we missed all those years in between. I was bullied a lot in high school until my senior year, really. And I didn't have many friends. I had a lot of acquaintances, and they were, very nice. All you guys I knew, and you were nice, but I didn't know you really. Mm-hmm. And it's so wonderful, wonderful to develop these.
And you gotta talk about the technology. I mean, without Facebook, without Zoom, without these things, it was very difficult for the generation before us and stuff like that. But this has been wonderful. I mean, when we have our drinking engagements, right? We have our every couple of months now. We have a happy hour. We have guys. Heinz calls in from Alaska. I mean, if we didn't have that kind of people from the West Coast, at one time, who was it in Guam that called in?
Ed Poppy.
Ed Poppy called in from Guam. I mean, without this technology, you wouldn't be able to do those kind of things.
Yeah,
I met on Saipan when not when I was living there, but when I was back there for doing some work, and he had bought the radio station there, and he came from Guam over to Saipan. We had some time together, which was nice.
Hey, I just wanted to let you know that technology being what it is, Alan Morris says hi to you guys. And he said he sent his condolences to Tony and Lynn. So I wanted to ask one last question of Dave. Dave, how did you? It's kind of like me. I was never involved. I played sports, but I left Wantagh as soon as I could get out, and I graduated a year early. And I went to college, and my parents owned a house in California, and that was it. But now I'm so involved because I think for myself, I needed to be from somewhere, and Wantagh is the place I was from. All the other places are where I went to. And how did you end up? How did you end up getting, picking up the role of being the taskmaster?
That's an interesting way to describe it. After the 50th reunion, I had all these pictures, and I didn't know what to do with them. So I set up this Shutterfly site. I guess I already was on Shutterfly because I had documented my trip to Antarctica there. So I started another second Shutterfly site for our 50th reunion. And then that just grew. And now I've taken the 50th reunion off it. It's just our class of 1 class of 1960 because I've got stuff from the 40th reunion, 50th, and now 60th, plus other stuff on there as well. And it's a good place to document things. Who's passed on. It seems like that's all I ever report on is who's died. I wish somebody would put some good news up on that site. Lynn, did you get the link okay?
Yes, I did. Thank you.
Good.
Thank you.
Good. So you can get back on there.
Yeah.
It needs some cleaning out as far as there are a lot of people subscribed with old email addresses that have never been changed or updated or anything. But we still got a goodly number of people there. And that's what kind of got me started with this. And then eventually I started the Facebook group, and that grew. And some people from other classes came on, and you joined us, Glenn. And I don't know, it kind of grew, and somehow I wound up being the ringleader, which for me with high school is quite a different experience, and I'm enjoying it.
Yeah, it was.
So Glenn, when's the next one?
Well, we'll have a happy hour in May. We haven't picked a date yet.
No, I'm totally
I like Tony's idea of getting together every year in some way, and I'm game. Just let me know when and where. I'll be there.
Speaking of that, we get together for a luncheon at the Wantagh Inn in December of every year. So like Bob Murphy, the Birdsalls, Artie Johnson and his wife, Bob Reisman, the Crolders, Mike Hamill and his wife. There's like 20 of us, and everybody's welcome. And we haven't done it the last couple of years because of COVID, but other than that, we plan to do it this year.
Around Christmas time?
Yes. Yeah.
That's right.
2 weeks before Christmas.
I have no problem getting to the island. It's getting off the island that I have a problem.
Well, I agree with that.
It takes hours and hours and hours just to get to New Jersey. After that, you're okay.
Well, you have to go during the night.
Yeah.
I've even gone fairly late in the evening and had backups and traffic jams and everything.
Glenn, when are we going to do this again?
I don't know when. We'll figure out something.
Let us know, because I'll be away next week.
Yeah, I would love to do it again. I'd love to have different group of people, or know that people from your class will be less frightened by the test. Maybe
a link to this will be up on our Facebook page, so people can play it if they want.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
I have contact with Betty Johnson, and she really knows old Wantagh well. And I told her she should be doing this, and she's like, "Oh."
Yeah, well, that's the problem. It's I started this with the class of 75, 74 because that was my sweet spot. So I got 9 consecutive weeks out of that group of people, and then we went to another year, and then we did class of 65. And we had other things planned, but then, it's a tough thing to manage, making sure that everyone can get online. And then I did the teachers. We did 6 teachers, and that was a really interesting presentation as well. So,
wow. Who were the teachers?
Who were the
Okay,
teachers?
I want to get off now, guys.
Okay.
See you.
Hey, Judy.
Hi, Judy.
You can just leave the studio.
Take care.
Good to see you.
Happy Easter.
All right, thanks.
Take care, Judy.
The teachers were no one you would have had.
I don't think there's anybody left from what we would have had.
No, they.
I mean, if we're 79 approximately,
yeah,
and they had already been out of college, when we went to school. The youngest was probably Roberta Katzman, and she was still 4 years older than we were. 4 or 5.
I believe Mr. Pepe was in your yearbook in 1960.
Yeah.
So Mr. Pepe was part of the group that we had.
Wow.
He's 90. He's 97.
Oh my
Wow.
So, he participated. His daughter sat next to him, asked the questions, made sure we got, he responded, and it went well. He was the eldest of the group, and then we had someone who came when I left. He started in 1976 at the school, and still is connected. But Mr. Caffarelli, he was a shop teacher, and print shop, and
Print shop.
yeah, he did print shop. So, but anyway, so it's we've run over time. I appreciate you all agreeing to do this. This will be online forever. Thank you, technology. It will be in YouTube, and the links will be in Class of 1960, but it's on other sites as well.
Okay, I can take you off as administrator now, though, right?
Oh yes, you can get rid of me. I won't delete.
I shall get rid of you promptly.
Alrighty.
Thank you.
I do appreciate. One last thing, Cindy Zackby. If anybody talks to her, tell her you talked to me. She lived with my grandmother for 2 years, and that's where she lived when she was going to high school. And so just remember me to her, because she was my big sister when I was
Wow. That's sweet. Yeah, she lives down in South Carolina near my son.
Yeah, that's what I heard. Somebody told me. So, and she married Wantagh. She married Ray Hutterford to begin with, and apparently she married another Wantagh guy.
Tom Pascal.
Tommy Pascal, most recently.
What is it about Wantagh people? I don't get it.
Yeah.
So I'm with a Wantagh person as well. So
good.
So
well, we thank you, Glenn, for all your hard work.
Yeah, it's great, Glenn.
Yeah.
Sorry I joined late, but stuff happens.
Mike, give Marilyn our love and tell her we hope she feels better.
Well, thank you so much. I will.
All right. So to leave, you just click on Leave Studio and have a good evening. All right,
guys. Take care. Bye.
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 Rich, if you guys are going to get together in the summer, let us know.
We'll get it summer. It'll be December.
Yeah. Well.
I see what you're
doing.
I'm gonna click end broadcast. You're gonna have to communicate. See you.
Okay. All right, guys. Take care.
All right. Bye.